I'll reflect upon Paramahansa's autobiography, just in case you think I worship it. We're children. So he writes what we want to hear. He's telling us a story. You relate to other children. So he talks about his childhood. He touches on losing his mum. Oh, that touches your heart. Even when you get to, chapter 5 or 6, you've covered something like 40 miracles. He's unhinging your reliance on what you can explain. It's magical. It's, wow, this is interesting. And then as time goes on in the autobiography, well, it's, details of various wonder workers and saints and so forth. And what doesn't he say in the autobiography? The immense disappointment that causes him to go off to Mexico. Betrayal of his friend, really close friend, whom he obviously cared for. I mean, betrayal to the extent that the chap was suing him for a fortune and damning his reputation. The fact that all the first 10 years, or I don't know, 10 or 15 years, he sinks into America, come to nothing. He's got hardly anyone to show for it. And as it transpires in the history after his death, the one that really carries on his work is not the organisation he set up, but the chap, Kriyananda, who knew him for the last 4 years, who sets up, 8 or 9 world colonies, communities, which is just what Paramahansa wanted to do. He didn't want to make a monastery, but that's what he got. It doesn't give you theology early on because kids don't want that. They want entertainment, so he gives them miracles, stories. I mean, presumably pretty closely historical content of his life. But it's a particular view, of course. You miss out that which is not the picture you wish to paint. But when he comes to the end of his life, what does he do? He writes volumes. Huge commentary on the Bhagavad Gita and on the Jesus story, the Gospels. 2 volumes for each, huge volumes. In other words, he focuses on the theology that's needed, the explanation, the understanding, as he understands it. The book then is not actually packed with God. It's packed with wonder workers and miracles and experience and pioneering mission to the United States, to the West, and relationship to Guru, far, far, far more than relationship to God. And the real overwhelming disappointments and failure is not focused on. And I do mean failure. You get to the end of your life and the organisation you set up's gone to seed. The person who's really going to carry it on, you've only had 3.5, 4 years contact with. The great work of the autobiography, which is really the stunning impact on the world, the most read autobiography ever. Didn't come till something like 1946. And he dies in 1952, I think it is. You see, the reality of this world is not a glittering success, any more than the Jesus story is. You know, he's a nobody in a known country. I mean, tiny, insignificant place. And he gets killed, crucified. And his disciples are scattered. And it needs a whole historicity of account of miracles and turning around to explain it all as the foundation of this great world religion called Christianity. What counts in the Jesus ministry? Well, like the last recording I've emphasized, that Jesus calls God Heavenly Father, Dad. And the significance of that is staggering. If you have ears to hear, eyes to see. And the vast majority do not have. Because they're still children. They're not ready yet. That doesn't mean God isn't caring for them. Of course he is. Just means they're not up to, if you like, the great final transcendence. Childhood takes quite time. Autobiography is not packed with God, it's packed with people, interesting, extraordinary people. Saints and sages and gurus and relationships that are not right. And of course, if we were to see the details of the history of Yogananda's life, it has its consequence. Betrayal, nothing, and nothing comes of the immense amount of work and input. Because it's focused on man, people, gurus, wisdom, theology, understanding, building world organizations. Even the success is world organization, community. There's not some great spiritual insight and transcendence. In short, it's not to be worshipped. What was technically the understanding behind why Paramahansa was sent? Well, it was actually to teach Kriya Yoga. Because this was a secular practice that brings about a change, if you like, in the spiritual or mental makeup of the person, such that they become, if you like, vibrationally attuned to God. They become a transformed person by a practice, not an understanding. The Jesus story speaks to those who want to love, seek relationship, true relationship, understand God as your dad. That does it. The autobiography provides for the secular. A child who wants story, magic, fantastic, dependence on not God, but man, a guru, someone who will teach. it's the complete opposite of call no man teacher, isn't it? You must have a guru. I mean, these are not the same story. Does that make Paramahansa's autobiography worthless? No way. Gives the children what they need to hear. It leads them close to it. They may settle for what they hear. Seek a guru and finally comes to naught. Well, I mean, Paramahansa goes off to visit his guru and, charges off wandering around India. He hasn't seen his guru, well, unless he does it spiritually every day anyway, for 15 years or so. And he spends the time in India wandering around India, not spending night and day with his beloved guru. The guru doesn't matter. That's what he learns in his life. This is what the autobiography reveals. What he builds doesn't last, and what he valued doesn't matter. What matters is the relationship with God. Closer to Divine Mother than Heavenly Father in Paramahansa's case. But it's there for you to see. Autobiography shows he's done what he wanted to do, and it's taught him what God needs him to know. That is God only that counts. And of course the Babaji teaching is, in just a few words, it's that the understanding of the Father image of God is what's necessary to world peace and the way forward. We're not gained by seeking gurus, miracles, or world organizations. They are an experience to be laid aside for your relationship with God. As Father. Thank you, Dad.